Hey everyone, today we are doing an in-service on the Motorola APX-8000 XE, also called the APEX. This particular radio is a multi-band radio that we are adding to the fleet of radios we have. Chief officers will be carrying this as well as a company officer on duty. We'll embed a video that you can watch. It's more of a sales video than it is a operational video, but it does have some helpful information that just kind of highlights and goes over what we're doing in more detail now. So the APX-8000 Motorola radio is a P25 compliant all band portable radio. It covers 700 and 800 megahertz frequencies. It also covers VHF and UHF as well. There's some other embedded software within the radios that will do Bluetooth capabilities, cellular phone capabilities. There's beyond any of the formats that we will be using. We're just going to be using the basics of what this radio can do. It can go way beyond what we're going to be implementing it for. It has a dual-sided operation, so you can talk on either side of this radio. When it's in your hand, you don't have to turn it around from one side to the other. It has a microphone on one side embedded and another one embedded on the front side. They're both waterproof, so it shouldn't be distorted once you're on an accident scene or working out in the rain. It has a third microphone that's installed inside it that will help get rid of the outside noises. So if we're working in an environment, say on an outside fire where leaf blowers are being used, it has a smart microphone in it that's there to detect your voice and hopefully muffle out the leaf blower sound whenever the operator is using it, if they happen to be one of them creating the fire alarm. It is intrinsically safe, so in other words, low explosive rate environments. It's safe for hazmats and areas where we normally wouldn't take a radio. Within the format that you see on the screen, it shows what the top view looks like and what all the switches and indicators are for. So we'll start on the bottom left with the toggle switch, which is considered the scan button. A full circle is not on scan. A circle with the mark through it is on scan. Currently they're set up to scan whichever zone you are in, but by reading the owner's manual you can go in and select a scan list that you would want to have on it. Preferably, since multiple people are going to be using the radios, I would prefer that we just leave the scans alone at this point in time, unless we end up thinking as we use them further that it would be beneficial to set something up. The channel knob is in the center of the radio. It has a 16-channel turn, and basically you work through the zones, channels by changing it. The status screen on the top is very small, somewhat helpful, and I found with the use I've had it for so far, or the time I've used it so far, that the primary screen on the front, what we'll call the front of the radio, is most beneficial for us. There's an LED status indicator on the very top. If you look at it, it's right between the red emergency button and the channel changing knob. And we'll go through later what the status indicator colors mean. The power volume knob is on the very right side of the radio on the top. The radios are very, very loud. You have a very kind of a whisper option. When it's turned down low, when it's turned up, it's definitely very amplified. And then there's an ABC toggle on the top. Most of you have seen the other radios we've had in the past that have that ABC option. Right now that toggle is disabled. It doesn't do anything at this point in time. So the front view of the radio, again, the screen side is what we are calling the front view of the radio. Has a ton of different functions that we can use. We are just using the basic functions at this point in time. So I'm going to start at the top left. Again, we have the channel changing knob, and then down below is the status screen. So it tells you what frequency you are on and what zone you are within. The left button with one circle is the zone up. Press to scroll through the zones. So once you press that button, it's going to bring your zone menu up. And then the second button, or the middle, and the button in the middle will let you scroll through, will allow you to scroll through the zone channels. The home button is currently programmed to move you back to what we consider the home zone. But I've found that not all the radios are doing that yet. Some of them seem like there may be a programming malfunction or a user malfunction there that we have to get through. The arrow buttons near the bottom, the left arrow is just an info arrow. I wouldn't push it, I would ignore it. The up and down arrows, again, whenever you are selecting your zone, will allow you to scroll up and down through the zones. And then the right arrow is basically information on the radio. Battery status, zone status, and there's some other options that can be set up in there, but again, we're using it for very basic use at this point, so we're not using it to its fullest capability. The right button within the bank of the buttons with the circles, the very far right one with 3 circles, is the zone, or actually channel up, or the channel down button within the zone. Again, the middle button, like I said earlier, the middle button with the 2 circles, while you're in the zone, selecting channels will allow you to go up through the zone. And again, on the top is the volume button that we've already spoken about. Our back view is very simple. Back view is where the primary sound will come out. Your primary speaker is here, your only speaker is here. And then, like I said earlier, we have a microphone that's embedded in there as well, giving this that 2-sided feature to be able to speak through. Our left side view. So the top button, when you're close up to it, is purple, and it's currently not programmed for anything. The large button is our push to talk. There's 2 half moon buttons. One has 1 square, the other has 2 squares. I essentially call them at this point in time the top half moon button and the bottom half moon button. The top one will give us the light function on our screen if the screen is dark, and the bottom one is currently set to just a squelch. So if you have your radio on your person, you're on a call, and you don't remember if you turned your radio on or not, you can very simply just push the squelch button and be able to tell if you're on. On the side of the radios is a microphone port. So currently they have a dust cover that is on them whenever the microphone is off, and when the microphone is off, it comes simply comes off by unscrewing the latch mechanism. Don't lose the covers, don't lose the screws that hold them on when you're going to use the microphone. If you're not going to use the extended mic or microphone, then the dust cover needs to be in place to help protect the radio and the plug as well. So our LED status indicator, which was on the top, the solid red is the radio is transmitting. Blinking red means that it has a low battery. Blinking multiple times, or double red, so red, red, pause, red, red, means that we're transmitting in an emergency mode. So that would go to the orange button, like we're familiar with on the Joplin 800 radios we use. This orange button is set up as an emergency button, but only when we're on the Joplin frequencies. So if you've pushed that emergency button, a couple different things are going to happen. Number one, the alarm's going to start sounding on the radio and then give you the frequency, and then you're going to hear from Joplin Dispatch wanting to know if you have an emergency or not. The other thing that will occur is the rapid blinking red light, and if you happen to be using the extended mic with it at the time that the red button's pushed, there's a front light that is going to start strobe lighting. So in emergency mode, it will strobe light. That's to help if you're in the interior or in a dark condition, is to help with being able to track down firefighters. So if you have this on along with the extended mic using your duty belt, radio belt, and it starts flashing in a high noise atmosphere, that means you pushed. That means you pushed your emergency button. So. Solid yellow means the channel is busy. Blinking yellow means the radio is receiving a secure transmission. When I said that we're not using these radios to the volt capacity, I did not get the radios with the keypad on them because it was an additional cost that I didn't feel like our agency needed. So it kind of makes the function harder to get to, but there's a time and a place where you can go direct radio to radio, but we're not going to get into those details just yet, how that would work, mainly because we would have to be on a trunk system to be able to make that happen. 2 yellow blinking means that you're receiving a secure message, kind of similar to a text message. Solid green, it comes on whenever the radio is powering up for a brief few seconds and then goes off. It can also come up whenever you're scanning and you get the transmission on your priority frequency or non-priority channel. 2 blinking green lights, so it's going to blink twice and then pause, blink again. It means that you're receiving a telephone call or a priority 2 channel call where it's radio to radio. Again, that function is not set up, but that's what that is. And then 4 rapid blinks means that we're getting a emergency transmission or priority 1 transmission while the radio is in scan mode. Again, our radios are not set up for that function, but that's what those mean. So we're going to get into the speaker microphone, or extended mic as a lot of us call it. So there's several different functions on this unit. We're going to start on the top left. So we have LED lights, indicators on the top. The one on the left is kind of oval, is set up for Bluetooth. So it comes on whenever it's in Bluetooth mode. Again, we're not using these to their full capability, and we won't have that function currently. And then the small round is the transmit LED. It will blink the same as the radio LED based on the graph that we just talked about. So on the front